So you're inside Trump's brain. He's been told no, and he's had a week of being told no. The courts are beginning to fight back. Well, to be fair, the courts have fought back since the beginning, but these are consequential decisions.
Right, but hold that thought, and just let me add, because it's an important point here, is that the courts, for the first time, are in the position of being intimidated, consistently intimidated by the president, and then defied. Because again and again and again, the president has defied the courts, and it's very complicated. What do the courts do? Mm-hmm. And so I think we're in a situation where we're kind of relying on the courts to do something, but it's by no means clear that the courts are up to this.
Well, it's also very stressful, I would imagine, for the judges in the center of this, because he calls them out. They get doxxed online. No, it's intimidating. Their families get intimidated.
Absolutely. Can the courts do this? And what do they do if the president defies them?
So I have a question for you, which I go back and forth on. And I have a lot of resistance to, as I think a lot of people do, perhaps because I'm an optimist. But is this actually what an autocracy looks like? That this is one man calling the shots, the people around him seem unable to do anything. I mean, I was struck in the 3.5-hour cabinet meeting last week. There was a picture of Marco Rubio looking like this. And you think, is there nothing they can do? How do they handle this, as you say, completely otherworldly species of human that's defying the way this job is normally carried out?
Well, I think it is this. I mean, is this, what do we want to call this? Autocracy, fascism, whatever we want to call this. We're in a uncharted territory, and we have departed from the most basic democratic conventions and traditions of this country. So where are we? Let's put that aside. This is we are a long way from where we were and where we always thought we would be, and that still seems beating around the bush. So I think you have to get to the point and say, yes, this is autocracy. This is fascism in a kind of classic sense of one man rule, in which opposition is not opposition is always the threat. It's not the norm, which it used to be. Mm-hmm. It's not the expectation, which it used to be. It's not part of the acceptable structure. Opposition is to be fought against, crushed, I think.
But you can't crush Twitter. You can't crush social media where a lot of these conversations are going on, or can you? I mean, at one point it looked as if his partnership with Elon Musk might actually somehow
but let's start this. He set out to crush or certainly inhibit the media, and has been pretty successful there.
Yeah, true.
So what happens? I mean, remember, this is all somewhat incremental, although it's happening very fast, and it is kind of drip, drip, drip. And there's never a memo that goes out. We are now in a fascist dictatorship or an autocracy.
Decision by decision.
No one says that I am an autocrat. Right. I'm a fascist. They don't. This is kind of a judgment of history, or a judgment when it's everybody wakes up and it's a fait accompli has happened.
Right, the systems haven't held.
So
the institutions haven't held.
I mean, when I wrote my last book, and which was about the campaign, which was right up through the until the inauguration. And it really seemed to me, thematically, it seemed to me to be binary. The system would crush Donald Trump, all of those trials, or he would crush the system. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I think we are very clearly seeing that it is the latter. And I'm not sure. And everybody is like, well, what do we do about this? I mean, there's, many people are trusting that the Grim Reaper will solve the problem. There are the courts. We come back to the courts, and will they say no? But we don't know if they can say no.
Or they may be saying no, but does it make any difference?
Exactly. And then there is also, the people, the electorate. What happens? And for my mind, this is where we are. There is nothing left except this. If he loses his majority in the House in 2026, then that would seem to me a new ball game. However, of course, he's going to do everything possible within his power, within the imagination of the people around him, to be able to construct a rationale for interfering in this election in his favor.
And you saw him pardoning the January the 6th rioters. You saw this week him announcing that Ashley Babbitt, who was shot during the riots, was going to get full military honors at some kind of memorial, I guess. It's all, January the 6th, which I think a lot of people thought was a strange band of unlikely people coming together, suddenly looks much more ominous given the moment where we're in now.
I don't know if I'm actually less worried about violent interference with the election than I would be about systemic subversions. As in the gerrymandering in Texas, as in this, which would otherwise seem to be ridiculous and misguided effort to outlaw mail-in voting.
Mm-hmm. But I guess I meant in terms of if we woke up the day after the midterms and it was clear that the Republicans had lost, is there then violence?
I don't know, but yes, possibly. Everything at this point, everything becomes more uncertain. We don't know what will happen. We have never been there before.
This is alarming. It's an alarming conversation.
No, it is alarming. And I, too, am a fundamental optimist. I have always basically believed that Donald Trump, because he's fundamentally incompetent, is and fundamentally interested in just the look of the performance, that this would all somehow pass. And
to your point about incompetence, that he makes so many announcements that actually it doesn't add up to anything other than a sort of show of presidents, a performative presidency, which doesn't actually mean anything.
Yeah, so the announcements putting troops in the streets are many announcements and many, darkness at noon scenarios, but there aren't that many troops.
Right, and I know lots of people who live in LA, nobody saw a troop. Nobody saw a troop. They didn't even know they were there. They didn't
in the
follow
neighborhoods
the news.
where you know people.
Well, I know some people that,
No, you don't.
Oh, well, I know a few people that live downtown.
But yeah, so that is you can take and I have largely looked at it like that. It's just Trump being Trump,
right? And
to no effect except to center the attention on Donald Trump. Recently, I've been, I'm not sure that is so reassuring anymore. I think that this is, he's entered a period of, more arrogance, more hubris, more rage. He wants it. He believes that he can have it. He believes that he he has the power to get it, and he's not going to be satisfied until nobody says no.